all right. Like, I'm good.
What people don't know about Tom Brady is he has to kiss his son on the lips because that's how he can play at an old age. He's stealing from the fountain of youth.
I'm going to therapy about it.
Get used to it or go away.
Streets is cold.
Men are trash.
Oh, no. You started talking about.
I'm Matt.
I'm Aaron.
This is Tune In and Turn Up.
We're doing it, man.
We did it, man. That was it. That was the hard part. That was the hard part.
It took us a minute.
Y'all, this has been a long time coming, this podcast. Man, I want to shout out real quick. Everybody that sponsored getting us here. Yeah. Everybody that hooked us up. Aaron and I were on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we just said, hey, we're all self-produced, self-funded. We're paying out of pocket for this. It's a passion project. So if you want to throw in some money to the Venmo or to the Cash App to the PayPal. So shout out to, on my behalf, Logan Lane. Appreciate you, Logan. Appreciate the donation. You got some people?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out Christian Thompson, man.
Ooh.
You came through. You came through for your boy and you showed up. And that's all love.
Yeah.
That's family right
And Christian, if y'all know Christian, if y'all don't know Christian, one of the most incredibly talented person.
Absolutely.
I just saw you play Smokey in Ain't Too Proud and you were dope. And in the same vein as Christian, I got to shout out Rebecca Lowry. Rebecca and Christian, y'all poured into us more than we could have imagined.
Y'all really made this possible. So we really appreciate that.
We're here at WTF Media Studio. Shout out Dave over there in the table. Dave's out here holding it down for us.
And everything.
And this is episode 1, man. This is episode 1. Like, I don't really know what else to say. This is Tune In and Turn Up. This podcast has been in the works for me for like 5 or 6 years. I was in Texas and I thought, I want to do a podcast. I want to do something. And I put the first photo of marketing, Tune In and Turn Up, like 6 years ago when I was in Texas, and nothing happened.
Man, Matt would send me so many videos about different podcasts. Like, bro, check this out. Watch how they doing this. Do this. Blah, 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 blah. And then like, in my head, you know what I mean? Anything that my boy, because we're best friends.
That's my boy.
Anything that he's down to do, I'm typically down to do. It's ride or die. OBOF,
right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
You know what I'm saying?
So it's definitely turned into something that I think I became passionate about just because you were passionate about it. So I'm really excited to actually be doing this thing.
Well, I don't know, man. So my dad used to always want me to join the military. And he always used to tell me, find a friend, like recruit a friend. If you do it with your friend, it's easier with a friend.
Absolutely.
He said that all of the time. And I was like, Dad, I'm not joining the service. Most disappointing son in America. I was like, Dad, I'm not joining the service. And he's like, but if you and your friends would do it, I have these best friends, Jonar, JJ, Mark. He's like, if you and Jonar, JJ, Mark do it, I'm like, I'm not doing that. But the same thing happened when I went Greek in college. Joined a fraternity. When you do it with your friends, it's easier.
Absolutely.
So for like 6 years, I'm out here thinking like, I want to do a podcast. I want to write a book. I want to do a web series, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't do anything at all. Yeah. Like I was just such a talker. And what was it? We were at the bar one day. We're at shout out to At the Wallace, shout out to 149th. We're at the bar.
You know me?
And
that's our cheers bar.
That is our cheers bar. That's our here bar. And we heard, I think it was Vanessa that was like, y'all should have a podcast. So it was Vanessa and somebody else.
Definitely Vanessa.
She said,
definitely Vanessa. And she's definitely been in that corner from the start.
Yeah.
So.
Shout out to Vanessa. Vanessa's been ride or die.
Love you.
And she's like, y'all should have a podcast. And then I'm thinking like, maybe that's the secret all along. You making eyes?
Nothing. Bro.
I was like, maybe you making eyes? I was like, maybe that's the secret all along. I'm not supposed to do this alone.
Right.
And every podcast clip I'm sending Aaron, it's friends or colleagues or peers. And of course it's better when it's a group conversation. I don't know about y'all, but one of the reasons it took me so long is because I hate podcasts. Like I don't listen to them. I watch them on YouTube, but I don't just listen to them via audio.
That's
and
true.
The more dynamic a session is, then the more entertaining it is. So I
agree with you.
I couldn't think about doing that alone.
Like
even the biggest podcast in the world, you need guests. Every episode has some sort of guest, some sort of hook. And for me, long story short, is Aaron became my saving grace because that's my brother. We're already doing this at the bar. We're already doing this at the restaurants. We're already doing this at parties. Like this is what we do. We communicate. Why not film it?
This is why we here. And this is also why I don't go to the gym because I ain't got nobody to go with me. So, you know what I mean? That's a goodie.
That's a shot for y'all don't know. That's a shot because Aaron's been talking about going to the gym with me for a long time. We never go together. That's a shot. That's a shot. All right, so Aaron, tell them about you. Tell them who you are. Tell them where you're from. Tell them about you a little bit.
Man, I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I'm a good Southern boy.
Oof.
Shout out to the South. Woo!
Not shout out to
the South.
I mean,
I'm from Durham, North Carolina, born and raised, and I'm one of 9. So I got 6 sisters.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, but tell me about it.
That's a lot.
Tell me about it.
Aaron learned to fight at a very young age.
I had 2 brothers, man, and I made my way up here. I went to college for PR and marketing. Made my way up here for a marketing job, and they ended up giving it away, and I was stuck up here just like working for Verizon Wireless, doing the, the waiter thing and the hosting thing, and then started doing musical theater out of I never thought I would be here. But started out on tour, did Rent on tour, and tore my meniscus, which brought me to New York just to like chill out for a little bit. And then somehow I weaseled my way into Little Shop of Horrors as the plant, as Audrey 2.
Let me tell you everything he just told you without being modest about it. My boy Aaron's a beast. Hey, so my boy Aaron performs, he sings, he acts, he got that vocal, he's got that, whoa, you know what I'm saying? He's got them, I'm not even warm yet though. So imagine if I was. So he's got, so he's got them chords. And then, he did Rent on tour. He played Collins. He sang The House Down, right?
Yeah,
Stop me when I'm wrong. He sang The House Down. Aaron and I met through a mutual friend who was also on that tour, Rent. Shout out to Paola.
Shout out to Pao.
Paola's the other third of this tripod. Pao introduced me to Aaron. Aaron is an absolute powerhouse. Yes, he was on tour. I don't really know much about the meniscus, but the job of an actor is to want, and that's about it. And then maybe if you want hard enough, then you get, right? But ultimately we can prepare, we can train, we can practice, and we can audition our asses off, get 1,000 no's, and then maybe one yes. And that one yes is still a maybe.
Absolutely.
So my boy Aaron went in, read for Little Shop of Horrors, sang for The Plant. If you know Little Shop of Horrors, it's a cult class. It's historic. And Audrey 2 is that show. Hey, that's all they get for free. Break them off a little bit. Nah, my man is booked, blessed, happy, and it feels so good. I hate it because I've lost my best friend for like eight shows a week, right? Which means 6 nights of the week I've lost my homie. But I know for a fact when anybody comes to town, it's like, yo, go catch Aaron at the West Side Theater.
It's funny though. He neglected to say that when we first were trying to meet, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to mess with your boy. He was like, oh, who is this kid? You know,
Aaron,
like that. But that's all right, though. Look what we became, bro. I ain't holding it against you or nothing like that, so it's all good.
You know what I'm saying?
But look at where we at now. You know what I mean?
I treat friends like family. It's not easy to get into the circle. Actually, that's a lie. It's easy to get into the circle, but it's very easy to get kicked out of the circle as well.
Absolutely.
We have like kind of an open door policy, but that doesn't mean there's not rules here. Yeah. And so for Aaron, man, I wanted to meet him. I was told I should meet him. He was told he should meet me. We're like, we'll catch each other. And then when we met each other, it was all love. And then it was the sustainability.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about brotherhood. It's like we didn't have to prove each other to each other. We just had to see, was there consistency to the dap ups and the homieship,
that's
the friendship. And loyalty matters, man.
Consistency and loyalty.
One band, one sound, baby. Ooh, that's for the episode 2. Consistency and loyalty. Yeah. We're gonna talk about relationships. That's my boy Aaron. You got to catch him in Little Shop of Horrors while he's still there, because I can only imagine the tickets are gonna get harder to get for his next show and the one after that. My boy is only skyrocketing. So,
but we need to talk about you, bro.
Hey, yo,
my man Matt. And one of the things that interested me about doing this podcast specifically with him is his gift and talent for speech and words.
Damn. And
he definitely is one of the most talented, if not the most talented, spoken word artists that I've ever met. And it translates just even in real life. You know, Matt can put things in a way, in a perspective that challenges me, and like it's really, bro, I'm really like enamored by that. So I appreciate even being able to do something like this with you in particular.
Yeah.
Because we're able to like just bounce off each other often.
That means a lot, man. You can thank my mama, man. It's a gift and a curse, bro. I'll tell you, it's been one of the best things in my life where like I'll be in a relationship or I'll be talking to somebody or whatever, and they're like, we love how communicative you are. Yeah. And like 3 weeks into the relationship, it's like, we hate how communicative you are. You know what I'm saying? And I'm often told to like, okay, we get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you could stop at chapter 1. The story's been told. You don't, but you know, I once upon a time thought about this podcast being called P.S. I Ramble because but I will say, I do think communication is key, and I think that's where we not only build each other up, but we fall apart. That's where people fall apart, because the less you communicate, the more gaps you leave to be filled in.
Absolutely.
And when you let someone else fill in your gaps, they're gonna fill it in towards their perspective or their thoughts or their insecurities or their anxiety, not towards what you actually feel.
Absolutely.
So there's not truthfulness there. There's an adaptation, which is great, but there's not truthfulness. So I do love that I get to speak for a living. When I was 19, I started juggling both a career in the entertainment industry as an actor and then a career as a touring motivational speaker.
Matt sings too, yo.
I got some ABCs and you know what I'm saying? Mama made me mash my M&Ms. We're not warm, y'all. I was saying, this is the morning podcast. You see us with the Starbucks. Maybe in an evening podcast, you'll see us with a little cup of something unleaded. You know what I mean? You gonna turn up sometimes. But yeah, man, I'll drop off some vocals when I can. But I've been very, very blessed to have a career in both fields. It has taken me more places than I could have ever imagined being. And so if you ever want to check out your boy, Aaron's on IG. I'm on IG. Yeah. Matt is Superman. You change yours all the time.
I mean, it's the same one. It's Aaron. So it's AAYRON.
Yeah.
_.
When I met him, he was AA. So
I still am, bro.
he's changed.
He's
He's changed.
No, I don't
He's
change,
changed,
bro.
fam. But yeah, Matt is Superman. Check us out. Aaron. Barely.
Oh.
Aaron, check him out. Dang, check him out at the West Side Theater. If you want to holler at your boy, merchwithamessage.shop. That's my brand. That's my line. You see the stickers on the laptop. We've got everything you need. But we appreciate your support of us endlessly because it's your support that got us here. Like, it's your support that got us to do this podcast and to want to do this podcast.
That's official, bro. Tune in and turn.
No, it's official. And you know what I just realized? So, what y'all don't see at WTF Media Studios is they got all this dope setup. They got mics, they got cameras, they got whatever.
Yeah.
And then I got what I think is like a Ring camera right above this speaker.
Yeah.
I've been staring at that, thinking it was that camera with the teleprompter. So if y'all see me looking a little, you know what I'm saying, Southside's the realest for most of this podcast so far. That's my fault. That's my fault. I'll give you eye contact now directly.
I gave him credit about his speech, but y'all, everything else,
everything else is a little uncouth. And that's the thing. Once you get to know me, you'll realize everything is kind of improvisational, bro. I'm winging it, man. I'm winging it through life. But yeah, so welcome. We have some segments. One of them is called Heard from a Bird. Where we're going to talk about things that are trending, things that are going on. One of the reasons I wanted to do this, and I've been asked like a dozen times, what's your podcast about? There's real no way to answer that question. It's just two best friends talking about whatever is going on in the world. That going on in not only the world, but our world, right? There's things about us personally. There's things about us globally. There's things about us, the audience, and and Aaron and I that we're all experiencing together, even like from afar. And so we did do Q&As on Instagram. We're going to holler at those questions. And then there's things going on. So we call this segment Heard from a Bird, AKA Twitter, where we can talk about what's trending in the world right now.
Man, we're going to have to start that out with what's popping right now is the picture. I don't know if you guys have seen it. But Zaya Wade, is it Zaya?
One of them.
I think it's Zaya.
Yeah.
Zaya Wade, man. She's got a picture out with, I'll say, her partner.
Sure.
I don't know too much information
Puppy love.
about.
Yeah.
But a lot of backlash has been going on because, well, what people have been saying is because Zaya is 14 and taking this PDA picture, smooching with somebody else.
Sure.
So, do you have any thoughts on what it is to be that young?
Yeah.
And being taken or photographed. Smooching at what, 14?
Yeah. I ain't gonna throw it back on me.
Because I got something to say.
Shout out to the Wade family, because if y'all have tuned in to Gab and Dwayne, and I feel like I'm saying it like I know them. I don't know them, and I'm just saying shout out to them because I think they're amazing parents. I think they're amazing,
absolutely
humans. They've been in the press for the last few years based off of their just acceptance of their child. And their acceptance of their child's identity, which I think is beautiful.
And their whole journey, whether it was easy or not.
I would assume, me not being a parent, knock on wood, not yet at least, or not to my knowledge, me not being a parent, I would assume that your job is to my bad, I knocked on the table if you're looking at that. My fault. My boy Dave out here on high alert.
Hold on. Who's watching?
I would assume your job as a parent is not only to raise your child, but to accept your child, right? And not to deny your child. The more you deny somebody of something, I think that's like a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Dwayne and Gab for accepting their child and who their child is and who their child loves, right? So first of all, like that's dope. That's dope. I think as far as this picture is concerned, or as far as everything that's going on in the world right now concerning this picture is concerned, my thing is I think we need to decide what we're upset about. It's my opinion, it's my personal opinion that people are upset because of this child's identity, not because they're seeing a picture of a 14-year-old kiss another 14. Like for me, that's it. I don't need, like I get puppy love. I lived puppy love. I experienced it. I was Gordo from the Lizzie McGuire show. I was captain of the friend zone, so I didn't kiss nobody like that. But I understand that that's happening in the world. It's not my source of entertainment, if that makes sense.
I think,
No, I was just saying, but like, for me, I don't have a problem with it because I grew up watching the Brady Bunch or the Wonder Years or Family Matters. Like I grew up watching Fresh Prince. I grew up seeing these shows that stand by me and these shows that glorify young love, puppy love. And so I'm not a stranger to the concept of your first crush. And I'm also not a stranger to that being demonstrated via entertainment or via a show or a movie or whatever. It's just different now that we got social media because it's not a show or a movie, it's real life. However, I think, and this is me, I think the hypocrisy of man is that they're upset because of the identity.
Absolutely.
The gender identity and the sexual orientation of these children.
Absolutely.
I think their problem stems from that, not stems from, man, you see that picture, man, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Because if you saw Tom Brady's kid going to prom or whatever freshman year and kissing their prom date, this would not be a conversation. So I don't think this has anything to do with the public display of affection.
Yeah, it always seems to be, even with the theme of, I'll just say kissing. And,
sure.
And you brought up a good point when you're talking about shows that we grew up watching, and like we're rooting for the Laura and Stefan from Family Matters to hook up and to finally be a couple and to make out. It seems like the issue, I agree, is also about, like you said, is about sexual orientation.
Yeah.
I also think there are some people like myself. It is harder for me to see kids so young photographed that way. Now and it doesn't even mean just, Zaya's situation. It's even like the babies, like taking pictures of I think that that also goes into an issue where, we're sexualizing kids.
100%.
I think, that there is something so innocent about it. I just personally don't think everything needs to be photographed.
Right. Ooh.
Now, this happened to be photographed, and I don't think there is an issue with it, other than the fact of being, I think we've talked about this in the past, of growing up in an environment where PDA and affection was just a no-go.
Yeah.
So I really think it has everything to do with even how some of us have been raised and how that makes us uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it is not our situation. It's not our child.
That's what
I'm
saying.
It is not us.
And the more you ask these people to hide, the more, I don't know. I think that's a recipe for disaster. It's like denying somebody the ability to live a happy life that everybody else, put that in quotation, gets to live, because you can't look at this couple or this relationship and say you can't do that, and then look at another one of the same age, but that's it's something you're more comfortable or familiar with, and say you can. Like that's oppressive behavior. That's oppressive nature. So for me, I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with the way the world is responding to it.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think the world is responding from an honest or healthy place.
Well, even speaking of Tom Brady, I think you spoke about Tom Brady earlier. Do you remember the I think it was a picture or a video where he was kissing his son?
Sure.
And it honestly, for me, was more of an issue for people because it was a father kissing his son on the lips.
Right.
Because I've seen plenty of pictures and plenty of whatever of a parent kissing the opposite gendered child on the lips, and it's never been the talk of the town.
Sure.
It's never been, oh my God, I can't believe this dad kissed his daughter on the lips, blah, 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 blah. I have an issue with it. It seems like we always continue to put these sexualized thoughts and opinions on things that have nothing to do with us.
Sure.
And I think the biggest issue, and I mean, shout out to social media. I mean, that's what it is. You put your life out on the line.
And we all get like the front row.
Absolutely.
See, not even front row, we're on stage. Or we feel like we are.
And we feel obligated to respond and give our opinion.
And that might be my problem, is our feeling of obligation to get involved. Because I think there's a difference between being in the audience and being the director. Absolutely. And I think social media or anything, it makes us feel like we're the directors. Yeah. Like we get to yell, cut, hold on, wait, from the top, got some notes. Like that's not what you get to do.
Absolutely.
You are watching whatever people care to post, or sometimes whatever they're caught, like paparazzi or whatever, what you see. You're only responding to what you're seeing. You don't get to change that.
Yep.
And what people don't know about Tom Brady is he has to kiss his son on the lips because that's how he can play at an old age. He's stealing from the fountain of youth directly from the source, because you know what I mean? He's old. And that's what y'all got to understand.
Facts.
Tom Brady is too old to be as good as he is, but he's as good as he is because he kisses his son on the lips.
He's
man.
got the secret.
Yeah, man.
He's got the secret, man.
And that's inappropriate. But nah, man, so for me, that's something that people are talking about right now. And I just kind of think, I kind of think people want things to talk about. And social media gives us an abundance of options to the point where we can get as absurd as we want to because we're bored. Yeah. Like it's almost one of those things where the more you have, the less you have to try or work.
Yeah.
So I don't even think these are fully formed opinions. These are responsive and reactive thoughts towards something we're seeing because we get to respond reactively or whatever. And I don't even know if those words work together, but they sound like they do. But that's my thing. Like nobody that's talking about this, Zaya or whatever, nobody that's talking about it, in my opinion, has fully formed an opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. Like it's shock, it's instant opinion, instant thought, instant response. And I'm like, yo, what are you either mad about or what do you, and if you are saying something that's to the contrary, well, what do you want to change? What do you think is actually inappropriate about it? Because that's where it goes down.
That's the root. What's the issue here?
Right. And I think people's issue is, most people's issue is change and growth.
Absolutely.
To grow, you must change. And so I think people have a problem with change.
Absolutely.
Which is why there's this constant battle between progressive and conservative, right? Yeah. There's this constant battle between this is where we're going, whether you like it or not. And the reason it's so difficult to get there is because people are kicking, screaming, and planting their like Confederate flags into the ground saying, we don't want to go there.
Well, that even reminds me of Jaydens video that he just released.
Ooh. I'm gonna call this the cringe corner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it the cringe corner. What made you cringe this week? What made you cringe? What made you feel like icky and ugly? Like, what is this? This is the cringe corner. Go ahead.
Bro, Jayden, if you guys have seen it, Jayden has released, I mean, it's from the past, but Jayden talks about him being at parties or whatever, you know, event is going on, and kids his age are like, you know, going crazy, being kids essentially. And in his mind, he's just like, I think his words were like, can we talk about like, you know, political or economic something? I can't remember what his exact words were, but you know, for me, it really got me going. It was like, bro, you have been raised by two people that we've put so much pressure on to be the perfect couple.
Ooh.
And we've now gotten into this situation. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, we're talking about Will and Jada. And I don't need to talk about any other event that deals with Will and Jada because I'm sick of hearing that other stuff. You know what I mean?
They slap.
We've put so much pressure on Will and Jada to be the perfect couple. And I think that is also reflected, in my opinion, to how they've raised their kids. And, and I think as a result, Jayden has been forced to kind of grow up a little fast.
Sure.
And so the things that he is saying that is, you know, making him upset and not really wanting to be a part of the crowd, to me is going, but these are kids being kids.
Right.
What is it that happened in your, not that I want to dig into it, but what is it that happened in your upbringing that really brought you out of that place to be able to allow yourself to be a kid, be in the moment, enjoy your environment, but you're thinking about politics?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You're thinking about politics, bro?
The video is cringe, y'all. It's like Aaron said, it's Jayden talking about, I can't hang out with kids my own age. He said, I hang out with kids my own age, and they're like, yes, let's take a selfie, this. And he does like, he's doing an impression of these young people, of not even these young people, of people his own age.
Right.
And he goes, I prefer to hang out with adults. And he goes, whenever I hang out with kids my own age, I'm like, don't y'all care about like the political stance of our country right now? Or don't y'all care about foreign affairs or what's happening with the environment? And I'm like, Brett, first of all, no, they probably don't. Second of all, I don't think they're even supposed to. Like, you're gonna, you know, not everybody's gonna be like Greta or whatever, that, you know, homegirl from Europe. Shout out. Not everybody's gonna be like her, right? And if that's your passion, let it be your passion. I had friends that I grew up with that loved rocks and shit. And I'm like, go love rocks. That's cool.
Absolutely.
I love
Shark's
other
teeth.
things. Right. But so Jayden, I mean, I'm looking at him, I'm hearing him say, I'm like, oh, you've been robbed of a childhood.
Absolutely.
There's this quote, it says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
And if Jayden's been surrounded with, you know, A&Rs and publicists and managers and assistants, and if he's been surrounded with his parents' friends, and you know, you even got Willow going on tour with my hair back and forth at such a young age. You got these kids and their immediate social circle are adults. You will be formed and raised by the experience you've had hanging out with adults.
Absolutely.
So when you're sitting at that table or riding in that car or going to that party, people are discussing things that are like out of your pay grade because they're 30 and 40 and you're 13.
And he's on movie sets doing what is it? A Pursuit of Happiness. He's doing Karate Kid. That's all he's surrounded by. Right. He's adult. Minds.
And I can picture him on Karate Kid right now, him and Jackie Chan hanging out. I can picture Jayden going to hang out with the other kids in the movie and like having nothing to talk about.
Absolutely.
Because I can't tell you who Jayden's friends are. Yeah. Titus and I were joking around. We were talking about like, we love Obama. We don't know who Obama's friends are. Like who are the boys Obama calls over to play basketball? And that's the show.
Yeah.
That's the TV show. Is like,
I would like to see that.
Obama's friends. But I think about that with Jayden. I even think about that like, I mean, thankfully, this is a terrible comparison, and I've done no research, but I remember seeing like Justin Bieber, and at least he was on Vine or Twitter or whatever with the Selena Gomez's of the world and the Ashley Tisdales of the world, and they like at least have this, you know, Gen Z-ish, millennial-ish crew. I don't know who Jayden's social circles are besides his family's friends, and I'm watching this and I'm just cringing because I'm like, good for you for being, you know, woke or progressive or thoughtful, but like I think it's just such a shame that you didn't get to drink from a water hose and like because I feel like that's what allowed me to get here with some sort of foundation or context.
Absolutely.
Because the spirit of being childlike isn't childish. I think it's what keeps magic alive. It's
got
what
the tattoo right on my arm, bro.
Is that what it says?
Yes, it is.
What does it say?
1 Corinthians 13 and 11.
Dang, man, he bringing the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Know your verse, bro.
I don't.
What the book say?
I don't, man.
What the book say?
Which one? Harry Potter? So in the Goblet of Fire, this is a whole sidebar for maybe a different episode. I love God and God loves me. I don't know anything about that book, man. I hate to read, and maybe if somebody turns the Bible into a podcast, we should do that. Maybe I'll check it out. But no. Like I just don't. And my issue is I feel like my relationship with God is all about, again, communication.
Yeah.
I communicate with God the way I communicate with God. Once I'm being force-fed the Bible, I'm like, this is not how I communicate with God. And I'm not, and it almost feels like a fraction. It almost feels like I'm now playing telephone with the word of God.
Yeah.
And then that's when I'm put in the situation to like cite my sources and question where it came from and the motives of man.
Yeah.
Because like, in my opinion, we were all made fallible, which almost gives me the grace to be able to be okay with not being complete.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And now we're just on a whole nother soapbox, and that's what's gonna happen with this podcast. We gonna go in all sorts of directions. But yeah, man, it's one of my issues where it's like, but the only time I feel comfortable with knowing that I love God is when it's just me. I'm praying before bedtime, or I'm thinking before I go into a podcast, like I hope this goes well. Before a flight, I talk to God before a flight.
Absolutely.
But everything else to me is minutia. Everything else is more cooks in the kitchen, and now the recipe is, and that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I learn from the things I hear, and I grow from people like Aaron. I grow from, but that's the reason why I've been to, let's say, 100 churches in my life, and right now I rock with one.
Yeah.
Because it took speed dating 99 churches before I found the one that fits my spirit. Shout out to Family Life in San Antonio. That's my family's church out there. But so, anyways, long story short, or deviating back to like the childlike thing.
Yeah.
Without that experience, I just can't imagine being a shark at such a young age. Like part of my entire identity is the ability to chase my dreams and to either fail or succeed.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not chasing those dreams. I can't imagine demanding them instead, or negotiating for them instead, or pitching them instead. I can't imagine having a whole team of producers and engineers drafting and crafting my next move because it's strategic for my career or my brand. Like, I just want to play outside.
That's
and
fair.
I just want to see if I can get to the highest branch on the tree. And I just want to break my arm because I tried.
Right.
Shout out to Evan Hansen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to, but you know, also, who am I to judge, man?
And that's another thing. Even when you just talked about your journey with God, you know what I mean? Someone at some point imparted that into you, and it took you finding your own way to get, to where you are right now. And that's why I also can't fault Jayden for feeling the way he does, because it's like he had no choice but to be the product of his surroundings.
Oof.
And for us who have experienced childhood in a different way, we can look at it and go, damn, like, I wish that wasn't the case for you. There's so much that you could have enjoyed about being so young. But in Jayden's mind, and even in the interview, he's okay with being this person. It's really the different perspective. We all have been raised in different ways, and we go about life in different ways, and the structure of things are different for everybody.
That's real.
So we can only look from the outside and say, wow, like, that's terrible. But from his perspective, it goes, no, like, I'm perfectly content.
Yeah, he's fine.
Like, I'm good.
Right.
It's just unfortunate, but it always seems to be the trending theme with kids in, I'll say, movie land or entertainment land from when they're younger. They are forced to grow up quicker.
That's it. That is what was it? And this goes back to the whole even my own take that I have to give myself, where it's like, you're in the audience, you're not a director.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I would love to go in there and shake things up and be like, please go play, or please let's rewind time and let you go play, I don't get to, and I don't have to want to so badly that I now start like bashing other people's lives.
Right.
So wait, real quick, because you just said something that I wanted to go into. You were talking about when they stop growing up.
Yeah.
There's this whole theory about like when a kid gets into Hollywood, like that stunts their mature. Like there's this whole theory about like that caps their growth, which is one of the reasons you'll see some of these adults really spiral, because they didn't get a chance to grow up.
Absolutely.
And so you'll see 28-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 35-year-olds making 15-year-old mistakes.
Absolutely.
Because I was the same way in a very, very different way, where I didn't start drinking until I was 27. So now So I was 28 drinking like a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 28 and all my friends want cocktails and I want Fireball.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I never got the chance. Not that I needed the chance, by the way. I'm not, in no way whatsoever do I regret or resent the way I grew up. Everything was intentional and a choice. But I remember being damn near 30, but with the palate of a 20-year-old. Like, I was like, ooh, beer's gross.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but at some capacity, I missed out on an experience that when I did catch up to that experience, I was a decade behind.
Absolutely.
And so I don't, you connect the dots on whether or not that makes sense. It makes sense to me.
It does, because from your perspective, that's normal.
Right.
It's okay. You are not even upset about that happening to you.
Yeah.
Whereas in my position, like, we could look at each other in different positions. I can go, oh, you waited to drink when you were 27, 28. I was drinking when I was 17.
Right.
18,
wild boy.
I mean?
Wild boy.
So sorry.
Wild boy.
I was safe about it.
Wild boy.
Hey, Ma. I was drinking when I was 17 and 18. I had a fake ID. I was in the bars doing whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, like, there's nothing wrong with what you did. And from my perspective, there's nothing wrong with what I did. It just happens to be, we are products of our environment.
Sure. Oh, and
what I was privy to.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was drinking too. My thing is, I would pour out a Budweiser bottle. It would be Budweiser or maybe even Miller, but the bottles that were already dark, I'd pour them out and then fill them up with water so I could pretend that I was drinking. Because I wanted to have the balls to do, but like, my mom's Panamanian.
Yeah.
So I was risking a whooping for a beer. It's not worth the risk. You know what I'm saying? I'm calculating. I'm like, okay, I will get my ass beat. I remember one time I came home from a party, didn't drink a lick of anything, and just I walked in, and on site, my mom grabs my face like this, and she's like, breathe. And I'm breathing and I'm chewing gum. She's like, why are you chewing gum? What are you trying to hide? And I'm like, damn, man. If I can give y'all one piece of advice, man, if you have a Latin mother, wear 2 pairs of drawers, because the whippings will hurt less.
Or spend the night at a friend's house after the party, bro. Get that cleared first.
All of my Latinos know that we don't spend nice.
I mean, neither did we, but
Mom,
we found
Friday
a way.
night. Can I spend the night at blah, blah? She's like, they can spend the night here. I'm like, damn, bro.
Listen,
that's the warden, fam.
There's a way.
Shout out to moms, man. But yeah, so that's our Heard from a Bird. Y'all, Zaya, live your life.
Absolutely.
I hold on so proudly to the things I experienced when I was a young teenager.
Absolutely.
Man, that puppy love shit, that forms you. And to the world, quit sexualizing
kids,
childhood, kids, the growth. Quit sexualizing it. It's not for you, a 42-year-old man in somebody's basement, to put a comment on.
Yeah.
This has literally nothing to do with you. Quit making it weird.
Yeah.
And then as far as the cringe corner, man, Jayden, I mean, to me, that video is just cringe. That video's, and I get it, but it was so elitistly.
Yeah.
Like, there was not,
I could see that.
there was not one fragment of like joy. It was just so like, I don't like kids my own age. They're so, and then he's like, and he's literally just putting down his colleagues. And I'm like, bruh, we get, and the way I can't judge him, I've never had his lifestyle. You know, you can't just judge people for being kids, man.
Yeah. And I think the only reason why I think I sympathize with him is
because you're a
being
celebrity.
one of 9.
Because you're a celebrity.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Anyways, being one of 9,
right.
You know, my sister's about to be 40.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being able to experience what it's like for older people,
man,
and live through them in whatever capacity.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I had to grow up fast too.
That's true.
In ways that, like, I'm going to therapy about.
That's true.
But you know what I mean? We're all different.
Shout out to therapy, man. Everybody needs them. I mean,
therapy.
If you can't respect having a personal trainer at the gym and not having a therapist. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Let me also rewind and say I haven't actually found a therapist, but I've been looking. Okay.
I'm his therapist. Yo, I'm his
You have the
therapist.
couch.
I'm licensed by the streets.
They was calling.
Yeah. He's like, man, I'm having a bad day. And yeah.
Streets is calling.
He goes, Matt, I really need somebody to talk to. I'm going through this thing. And I'm like, great. They got $2 doubles over at the Wallace, so we're gonna go.
Yeah,
no, I'm just like,
we probably end up talking about relationships out of anything, to be honest with you.
All right. Y'all, wait till when we decide to talk about relationships on the pod, you're gonna hear beeps, you're gonna hear name drops, you're gonna hear
juicy.
It's gonna be, man, I don't know, man. We'll see, man. Really, I think relationships are like the everlasting Rubik's Cube of life. And I think that's what makes them beautiful. You get to whatever.
You see what I mean about when I say this man has a way with words?
I just be saying shit, man.
What?
I just be saying shit. One of the things we talked about, shout out to Starbucks. So many shout outs that will never get recognized.
Ever.
Shout out to Tom Brady. Shout out to Can you imagine getting like a cease and desist? Bro, that's when we made it. I'll move back to Texas.
To be honest, it wouldn't make me mad. I'm a Panthers fan at the end of the day, so I'd be like, all right, like, I'm good.
Pray for your boy Aaron, y'all. He's a Panthers fan on purpose. So
on purpose.
On purpose. All right.
Proudly. You know what I mean? Keep pounding. #. You feel me?
We did do some, what does any of that mean? You can now sponsor a Panthers fan for 5 cents a day. They gonna need it to pay me as their therapist. So anyways, Heard from a bird, cringe corner. We also did this thing where on our IGs we pitched a Q&A to all of our friends out there. So thank you for those of you that submitted. And we got some dope questions. We got some big questions,
silly ones.
We got some silly ones, and if we have time, we'll address them. But just know that we will keep a running log, right? And depending on where this goes and where you help this go, shout out to subscribers. Shout out to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page. Hit that like button. Drop a comment. Y'all already know how the algorithm works. We can't act brand new to this. It's man versus machine. So slide up with that notifications button. Make sure you ring that bell and hit that share.
Absolutely. And I know we talked about not sharing opinions when you hear something and reacting. No, react to this.
Talk that talk. Talk that talk.
We'll respond. We'll even bring it up here if it needs to.
We bring you in this room and handle. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right.
But nah, you know what I'm saying? Make some friends in the comments and then hit that like, subscribe, and share button, because you can help us turn this into something it could be. It's supposed to be. And this is just episode 1, man. So we're just rocking and rolling.
Having fun.
You know what I'm saying? Firing off. And this is just us trying it.
Yeah.
We didn't rehearse this. We just wanted to talk. And then we turned some cameras on. Dave hooked it up, and here we are. But we did ask y'all on Instagram to submit any sort of questions or any sort of anything. So we're gonna go through some of those now.
Yeah.
And then my boy Robbie D, I'm gonna have to pull up Robbie D's thing because he did. Y'all should do some would you rather's. So maybe we'll end. With some would you rathers.
Okay.
Some of them Robbie are. Some of them we gotta save for tune in and turn up after dark. But the other ones we can handle now.
Hey man, don't look past that. Look, I'm gonna send you the link.
If y'all see me looking up here to the western sky, it's because we got our notes here on a flat screen. So it's gonna help me out. So this is one of the first questions we got, and these might get a little deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one of them. All right.
Talking about relationships. This question said, how do you feel about dating somebody with zero social media presence? And furthermore, do you feel like they're missing out on a part of you when they don't see that side of you or how folks interact with you on social media?
Listen, I like trash TV. It's like one of my vices, one of my guilty pleasures.
Same.
The most recent one has been The Ultimatum.
Yikes.
And also Love is Blind. Like, I've watched both. Shout out to Netflix. Sure. Why we keep shouting everybody out?
Shout out Netflix. Shout out. Sponsors your boy. That's the desperation.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Tom Brady. Get that retweet.
In both series, there's been a time where they were talking about their partner having such a large social media presence, and either they have an issue with they're not being acknowledged on their partner's social media page.
Sure.
And when they are acknowledged, they can see that the reason for it is that either they lose followers, or they're not getting as many likes, and so they kind of take that away. You know what I mean? I personally don't care.
Sure. Ooh.
Either you have 10 followers or you have 500,000. I don't care. I think of social media already as a facade for anybody.
Okay.
That's just me personally.
So now, real quick adjustment, because 10 and 5, then that's just a numbers game.
Right.
Like, that's a little different. What do you think about literally zero? Like, they're not on social,
right,
or they are on social?
I couldn't
You
care
don't
less.
care?
I don't care.
Wow.
I would only care if, for instance, if they were not on social media.
Right.
Because I enjoy social media. So if they were not on social media and they were giving me shit about being on social media,
there we go.
That's probably where I would, have a little bit more of an issue.
Sure.
And we'd have more of a conversation.
Sure.
But in terms of them making the decision to not be on or to be on, I think they should, I guess, embrace their decision.
Yeah.
And not make that about anybody else but themselves.
Oof.
So that's me.
Oof. Do you think they're missing getting to know a side of you by not being on social media? Do you think they're missing a fragment of Aaron?
Sure. They're missing the social media fragment of Aaron.
Ooh.
Like, we're all different pieces.
Just live and direct.
I'm just saying.
That's really, but the way you said that is like, it's 2 + 2 = 4. It's like a duh.
Yeah.
It's like a duh. If you're not seeing my social media side, you are only missing my social media side.
Correct.
Woo.
Correct.
Bars.
Correct.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's about, well, okay. So to what you said about the I haven't seen the Ultimatum yet, but sometimes I don't watch shows because I fear that I am the show, and I almost fear that I'm both people in the Ultimatum.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all fuck with the Zodiac, but I'm a Libra, so I constantly am ironically wanting balance, but either being on opposite ends of the spectrum. I either feel like I am too much or not enough, right? So being a Libra, all I want is balance, and yet I find myself on the North or South Pole.
Yeah.
So with this Ultimatum shit, I feel like I would either be like, are we doing this or not?
Absolutely.
Or I'd be like, we're definitely not doing this.
Yeah.
But I'm bad at the middle ground, which is hilarious because that's also the only place I live is limbo.
Sorry for sniffing, y'all got allergies. They tearing
It's
me.
allergy season, mama. But I think people on social media want to see things that they want to be a part of. And once you're in a relationship, they're like, oh, there's no room for me there. Like it kills the daydream, right?
So
And
it's kind of similar to you and TV shows. I think people look at that like social media websites.
Right. Because, and that's why, bottle popping videos or whatever get so much love because people want to be at that place with you.
Yeah.
Or, when I post a picture like, look at me, I'm courtside at whatever, people want to sit there.
Yeah.
So that's why things get glorified on social media because it's escapism.
Absolutely.
All it is escapism. And then every now and then when you want to post in my perspective, words of wisdom or words of affirmation or whatever, the people that show love to that or care about that or comment on that, it's because they needed that.
Yeah.
The way other people need to feel like they're living a dope ass life, these people might have felt like they needed to hear something supportive and encouraging.
Yeah.
So that being said, if that's an extension of who I am, and I was dating somebody who wasn't okay with how I was portraying myself online, then it'd have to be the same way. Like if you're on a TV show or if you're in a band, or and this is how y'all behave. If that person isn't proud of you or isn't enamored by you in that form or in that setting, I think that matters because I think that determines whether or not you want to even be with that person. Like let's say I'm introducing so and so to my family, my mom, my dad, my grandma, and meanwhile, they are on stage, wilding out, Ozzy Osbourne, doing whatever. Like that might not be the partner for me if I'm not encouraging of the way they live their life.
Absolutely.
And social media is a way people live their lives. So I think you have to love all of them. You even have to love the personality they put on or the character they put on. I can't fathom being with somebody who also has to like put on a costume for a living, which Aaron and I do, and not appreciating them also in that costume. Like you can't leave room to resent your partner. And that's just me, bro. Like you have to love them in and out, good and bad, and you have to get used to them. You have to get used to what they bring to the table. And if you're not used to it, you have two choices. Get used to it or go away. You know what I mean?
Talking about shout out to the participant,
Oh my God.
Bro, when you started talking, when you started talking, I was like, wow, okay. Moving right along. Anyways,
that's somebody.
Wow,
that's somebody.
got hot.
That's somebody from
crazy.
Aaron's past. Listen, man, that's why we.
That's crazy.
That's why we go.
You have to embrace it fully or not at all.
Or you don't. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you can't love somebody so much you own them. Like that's not how this works. It's not how it should work. It's not how it'll ever work. So, but that's why I think social media is important because I would have to say, babe, this is also who I am. Like I am also posting these selfies or thirst traps or words of encouragement or comedy or whatever. And if they're like, I don't think that's dope or I don't think that's funny or I think that's offensive or I think that misrepresents who you are as a person or it misrepresents our relationship, then I'm like, then me as the person posting, I have to decide, do I change?
Absolutely.
Or am I not right for that person?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, man, I think social media is a big part of relationships. I think the way you conduct yourself on social media is a big part of relationships. And I think social media, again, is a whole nother platform that leaves room for disrespect.
Absolutely.
So you can disrespect.
And liars.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother foundation where you can disrespect your relationship, disrespect yourself, disrespect somebody else's relationship. So I think how you behave in these settings matter.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think it matters.
I always think of it like an evolution of like AIM back in the day.
Ooh.
You could create a username and be anybody in the world that you wanted to be.
Yeah.
I think Instagram is an evolved version of that. You can still be anybody that you want to be on social media.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be accurate, but I think now that there is proof, excuse me.
You good.
I think now that there is proof and pictures and videos and blah, 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 you can paint a picture now a little bit easier than you could back then, but you truly can be anybody. And I think once social media is tricky.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right that you have to either accept it or not. And I think that stands true no matter what the situation is.
Sure.
But even being the user and being the one who is, it being your profile, what are you trying to put out there? Are you trying to impress? Are you trying to, like you said, engage?
Yeah.
Are you trying to entertain? What is your purpose for doing it? I think that also goes into play of whether or not it would be an issue of someone being on social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're comfortable lying, in general, you're probably comfortable lying on social media.
It's easier to lie on social media, you know what I mean?
And that, of course, can create issues in relationships.
Yeah. And I think you're right. You just said if you're comfortable with, and I think it also goes down to like, are you comfortable in your relationship? Because I think the setting, if you're not familiar with the setting, you will always be afraid of it.
Absolutely.
So, for example, if I didn't have social media and my partner did, I would probably worry because I don't have it. If you allow there to be doubt, doubt will take over.
Absolutely.
And so you said the reason I'm saying that is because comfort. You said comfortable. You have to be comfortable with your partner.
Yep.
You have to be comfortable with the way your partner is and who they are. And and it's one of those things where I'm grateful that even through my doubt and insecurity, I've also been reminded I can relax.
Absolutely.
Like I can be comfortable.
Absolutely.
And then that's hard because now the hard part is relaxing. You know what I mean? Because I know I can.
Yeah.
Now I have to. And when you're an overthinker or where you're a worrier or where you're so used to being hands-on with all of your projects and endeavors, you're not used to trusting. It's every time I watch, see that show Cheer on Netflix? The documentary Cheer?
No.
It's dope. Shout out to Cheer.
I think I've seen the trailer, but I haven't seen it.
Cheer's fire. Every time I watch Cheer, every time they throw a girl up in the air, I get nervous on the couch. I'm always like this. Like I put my hands out through my TV but that's how I've always been.
Wow.
Like when I see somebody trip across the street, I still like lunge. I'm just getting nervous. And shout out to therapy, man. We need to work on that.
I think I'm the opposite, bro. Like,
you don't care.
I'm too relaxed.
You don't care about nobody.
My issue has been I'm too relaxed. Maybe I'm too trusting.
Ooh.
That might be my issue. I don't doubt it until you prove me wrong.
Right. But you know what? I don't know if there's such thing as too trusting because like we were saying earlier, but getting your trust betrayed isn't up to you.
Exactly.
Getting disrespected isn't necessarily up to you. So I don't think you could be too trusting. And in my case, I would say my inability to just instantly let go and just be like, I hope this works out is almost like what will push people away in my life. Because it'll be like, yo, you're suffocating me or whatever. And so I think there is probably a fine line. Everything in life, balance is everything.
But my issue is I don't learn from the first time.
Ooh.
So you're saying you can allow, the results are not up to you.
Sure.
But the lesson is supposed to be learned. My issue is that the lesson wasn't learned the first time. I'll put myself in the same predicament, thinking it'll be different. That's ignorance.
But I also think that predicament is out of your control. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like if you get cheated on by the next 4 partners you have in your life, you being a trustworthy person isn't what made them cheat.
But see, it would be further than that. It would be like, for instance, if person A moved in a certain way, right?
Oof.
And it didn't work out.
Right.
Whatever the result is. Person B often will remind me of person A because they're moving in the same exact way. And then I go, well, B and A aren't the same thing. They're literally 2 separate things, but they're doing the same exact thing. So somehow in my brain I go, well, this will be different.
Your infinite chances.
Absolutely.
You're colorblind to red flags.
Because I keep trying to find out within that formula. Where could I adjust? Where could I move this X? Where could I move this Y to kind of change that situation?
So you make it your adjustment and not theirs.
Correct.
Right. I still would rather be you than be me, but I also think in general, there is that middle ground between the both of us.
Absolutely.
Where it's like we should obviously be aware of where we were wrong in the past.
Absolutely.
There are trends that just don't work for us personally, and those trends might work for everyone else in the world. You almost just have to know I need my partner to be artistic, or I need my partner to be kind or caring or nurturing, or I need my partner to be like dominantly this or that, or whatever adjective you want to place to it. You should start designing and developing based off of your experiences what you might need as a person. So I'm sure there's a middle ground. That's rough.
I do learn the lessons eventually.
Okay,
let me just.
But my boy love a red flag. My boy love a red flag.
Sometimes I ain't gonna stunt, but okay.
I would say though, but yeah, I'd be very cool if my partner didn't have social media. I'd also be very cool if they did. I would just hope that the legitimacy and the integrity of our relationship is still put at the forefront.
And essentially you're saying that if they were to have it and they had let me not even put words in your mouth. If they did have it and they had 500,000 followers.
Perfect. 500,000, baby.
How would you feel about that?
Oh, we doing Fab Fit Fun videos. We selling tummy tea. We monetizing every post we make. We're getting them couples like free bed sets. You know what I'm saying? We exposing, you know what I'm saying? No, I mean, I wouldn't mind because here's the thing. I swing for the fences in general. Like every girlfriend I've ever had in my life, I've been lucky to have. I've always, in my opinion, dated out of my league. And somebody might be like, Matt, you're being too modest. You need to give yourself more credit. Maybe not. But I've always been extraordinarily proud of the women who have given me the luxury of their attention. And because of that, I'm not a stranger to the fact that like, it might be uncomfortable. It might be hard to get used to every single time. That's where I slip into the pattern. But I've always been with somebody who's desirable. And how can I blame somebody for desiring them because I desired them?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter if you have 500,000 followers or 500 followers, somebody will probably be in my girl's DMs.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna happen because I was once upon a time in my girl's DMs. So how can I act like that's not the place for them to be?
Bro, that's the word.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I can't act brand new to like, oh, now I'm with a celebrity or now I'm with a content creator or now whatever. And they're just constantly engaging. That can't be a problem for me.
Yeah.
Because I too am constantly engaging. Now I'm constantly engaging about like mental health. You know what I mean? So I'm just like,
any questions? This is my lawyer.
Yeah.
Any questions?
You know what I'm saying? If the glove don't fit, shout out to
That's
OJ. No, I'm playing. Not shout out to, not shout out to OJ. But that being said, is like we've talked about it. It's gonna come down to like comfort and trust. And if you can't be comfortable with your partner, and if you can't be comfortable with what they do for a living or who they are for a living, or even just socially or even on social media, then you're not gonna be comfortable with them.
You're absolutely right.
And a lot of times growing out of that discomfort is a you problem. Yeah. It's not a them problem. And making it a them problem then is what fractures a relationship. And trust me when I say I've learned that the hard way. You know what I'm saying?
And me both.
Oh, I've learned it the hard way.
You and me both.
And it's still something I'm learning to undo. I was one of the like reiterating mantras that I've been repeating in my life for the last like month and a half for some reason has been like, I'm learning to surrender. Yeah. And I spent 4 years being so grossly independent that I had my claws embedded into everything I was doing, that I'm learning that is not collaborative. That is not a collaborative life. Yeah. That is not a cooperative life. So I'm learning how to surrender. And that's a me thing. We might have time for well, I don't know if we have time for one more because then that's going to be another, mantra or monologue. We have a lot of good.
Should we drop the question?
Drop the question now?
To see what we would talk about?
All right.
I've been excited about this one.
This question says, and it might be for episode 2, this question says, quote unquote, men are trash, ? Do you believe this? And if so, have women killed chivalry? So in other words, are men trash? And if they are women the reason, is what it says.
Woo, that's a question. I actually want to leave it on that.
You got thoughts though?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh. Y'all, this has been Tune In and Turn Up, episode 1. Man. We did it. We here. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. And yeah, man, we're going to be back for episode 2. We're going to at least give y'all a handful, and then let's see how this ball gets rolling. So please like, subscribe, comment, reshare, slide in the DMs, slide in the PayPal, slide in the Cash App, help support the pod. We're all self-produced, self-funded, and we're raising this money by ourselves. So if you want to be a part of it, get some sponsorship shout-outs. If you have some sort of brand, merch line, or something that you want to plug on the pod, we'll throw you a commercial. We'll cut to commercial. Right now, we're only booking the studio for an hour. We could book the studio for 2 hours if we wanted to. This can grow. So I appreciate y'all, man. This
and once again, I'm Aaron.
That's Aaron.
And this is Matt.
I'm Matt, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate y'all for looking.